This may or may not be your version of the test, but the question is similar to something that you've had that was on your test. And so if you'll just follow along, we can see what's what on these. All right, the first thing we see here is which of those variables is most likely to be bimodal. That means to have two modes. All right, so eye color. No, that wouldn't. I mean, brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. That's probably not going to be bimodal. Hours of homework last week. Well, no, that's normally a consistent number because everybody's getting the same head circumference. And that's going to be roughly symmetric, believe it or not. Number of television sets at home. That's probably going to be skewed one way or the other. And here's, obviously, I started at the bottom because the A is the answer. Number of cigarettes smoked daily. If you think about it, most people are either going to score, hang on just a second. Most people are either going to smoke a lot of cigarettes or very few cigarettes. So our graph would probably look something like this. And the frequency, 0 and a pack a day and 2 packs a day. I have no idea how many are in a package, but it's probably going to look something like this. Either a heavy smoker or you're a no smoker. This is probably not even skewed over that much, but 0 would be the vast majority. And then people smoke. I'm sure some of you smoke those Marlboro Reds only on the weekends when you're at a party or hanging out with friends or whatever. But that's smoking. Number of cigarettes smoked daily, more than likely, is going to be bimodal, have two modes, two humps, if you will. All right, on our next question. So we have the mean number of hours worked for 30 males was 7.5 hours, and for 20 females was 8.2 hours. And we're finding the overall mean of hours worked, and we're use a calculator to solve this. So we have to find the total. I don't want to find the average between these two. So I need to know the total number of hours worked by males. That's 225. I need the total hours worked by the females. That's 164. So I combine those two together, and that's 389. Now, I have 50 that worked. This is the sum number of hours of the males and females combined. So I divide that by 50, and I get 7.78 hours. So the answer on this one is D. First one up here, this was A, this one was D. A lot of you on the test, there were multiple versions of this question. Y'all just found the average of these two numbers. Can't do that. You got to multiply this times this, plus this times this, and then divide by the total number, which was 50. Did the exact same type problem on the review. Okay, number 3. What is true of the data whose distribution is shown? Okay, it's a histogram that is skewed to the right. My median is probably here. The mean is somewhere over this way. So the distribution is skewed to the right. That is a true statement. The mean is probably smaller than the median. That is an incorrect statement. The mean, as I go left to right on a number line, they get bigger. And since it's skewed, would I summarize with the mean and standard deviation? No. I only use mean and standard deviation if it's roughly symmetric and unimodal. This is skewed, so we're using the median and the IQR. So the only part here is 1. 1 only is D. This was 1 only. Okay, number 4. Suppose that a normal model describes the acidity of pH of rainwater and that water tested after last week's storm had a z-score of 1.8. This means that the acidity of that rain had a pH 1.8 standard deviations higher than that of average rainwater. It's just 1.8 standard deviations. That's what a z-score is, above the average, above the mean. It doesn't mean it had 1.8 times that, didn't have a pH of 1.8, it didn't vary with a standard deviation, or had a pH 1.8 higher than the average rainfall. It had 1.8 standard deviations higher than the average rainwater, not 1.8 higher pH. All right, number 5. Oh, again, that answer then would be B on this one. A professor has kept records of grades earned in his class if he wants to examine the percentage the percentage. These are categorical. This is categorical. You make an A or you made a B, that's categorical. Do I make a box plot? No, that's not something for a box and whisker. Do I make a time plot? No, I don't make a time plot. Do I do a histogram? No, that's for quantitative data. A dot plot is quantitative data. A box plot is quantitative. That's a pie chart. This answer should have been B, a pie chart. Okay, if I can get this page to turn, there we go. Number 6. I had a lot of people miss this question. This was crazy. Your teacher tells you that your test score was the 3rd quartile for the class. So if I do a quartile drawing, let me find a blank sheet of paper here. So that means that if we were to do a box plot of the scores for the class, and your score was here, whatever this number is, doesn't mean it's the 3rd quartile. That means that 75% of the data is to the left of that, 25% of that is above. Does it mean I got a 75% on the test? No. You really can't tell this means without. That doesn't matter. We don't even use the standard deviation when we're talking about box plots. We don't do anything with the mean and the class distribution. The answer to this is none of these. It's E. That's E. These mean nothing. Standard deviation, class distribution with normality means nothing when it comes to box plots. We don't even discuss shapes. So the answer is E, none of these. You definitely didn't get a 75% on the test. If you scored the 3rd quartile, it means you scored better than 75% of the people who took the test, not that you made a 75 on the test. Okay, number 7, which of the following data summaries can be changed by adding a constant to each data value? Adding means we can change the mean and the median. That's 1 and 2. That's 1 and 2. So the answer to this one is A, 1 and 2. If we want to discuss the shape of a data set, which should not be chosen to display, oh my goodness, how many times did I talk about this? We don't talk about the shape of box plots. We don't talk about the shape of box plots. It doesn't help us any. Doesn't help us any. And I've said that 100 times. Stem and leaf show a distribution. We could turn it sideways. Dot plots show the distribution. We've done those on the board. Histogram shows the distribution. That's a histogram. It shows the shape. Shape we don't use is box plot, which should we not be chosen. All right, number 9. You think I pushed that in the ground that that's going to be box plot? Which is true, the data shown in the histogram? Oh, roughly symmetric and unimodal. Okay. The mean and median are probably really close to each other. And I just made this statement over here that when we have it skewed, we use mean, median, and IQR. But if it's roughly symmetric and unimodal, we use the mean and standard deviation. This says the median IQR summarized better than the, no, that's not true. This one is true. This one is true. The answer to this one is B. The distribution is approximately symmetric and the mean and median are approximately equal. We expect them to be somewhere here in the middle of this. And I will say this, if you've put an A at any point in time on this test, saying the word asymmetric, I've never used that term besides just now. I don't know where you came up with, well, yeah, I know where you came up with that. You found the answer online and I gave you 0 for that section of the test, that entire section of the test. Okay, number 10. Which of the following data summaries are changed by multiplying a constant to each data value? Which of the following data summaries are changed by multiplying a constant to each data value? And that's all 3. That is answer C. The mean changes, the median changes, and the standard deviation. By multiplying or dividing, we change all 3 of these. By adding, which was this question back over here, where was that question? Oh, here. Question 7 said adding a constant only changes the mean and median. But by multiplying, it changes the mean, median, and the standard deviation. I gave you examples of that. We talked through that. That answer is C. So there's the multiple choice. If you have questions about that, let me know.